Hey, it's me, Green, back with another monster review for the Showa Showcase. And we're continuing with the monster movie celebration of 1964 with Mothra vs. Godzilla. Of course, I did a review on the Godzilla 1964 figure, as well as the adult Mothra, which was actually the Tokyo S.O.S. Bandai vinyl. But I wanted to go and spotlight on one of the forms of Mothra that has been actually the most prevalent in the Showa series, the Mothra Larva. This one for the 1991 Bandai Mothra Larva figure, which I still feel holds up really well. So come on along and let's take a look at this vinyl. This must strike you as odd, but I never realized that Mothra was supposed to be a giant moth. Early on in my youth, I had seen most of the Godzilla movies where Mothra was merely just a caterpillar, a little brown lumpy turd shuffling around the ground, squeaking and spraying its silken web. But it hadn't been until much later in life that I actually saw Godzilla vs. the Thing, and didn't realize until then that Mothra was always a baby in its appearances. Strange because the name is Mothra, but I accepted it. It was a caterpillar, and that was Mothra to me. Making her debut in the 1961 self-titled movie, the Mothra caterpillar hatches from a large egg on Infant Island, and it goes on its quest to retrieve the twin fairies known as the Shobojin, to bring them back to the island safely from the greediness of mankind. Mothra does just that after spinning a cocoon on Tokyo Tower and emerging as the moth adult form as we know it today. In Godzilla vs. the Thing, an egg washes up on the shore, and Godzilla is on the rampage. Again, wanting to feast on this egg, he is then confronted by the parent, which is the adult Mothra from the first movie. Godzilla and Mothra fight, with Mothra losing, only to have her egg hatch and reveal twin Mothra larva. The twins take revenge. They pursue Godzilla and team up to put an end to his assault on mankind, and then they spray their silk cocoon and send him into the ocean. One particular scene, one of the larvae bites on Godzilla's tail, and in a oopsie moment, looks like the body split. This is addressed in the next movie, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, where it's revealed that the twin died from its wounds. Here in this movie, the Shojobin try to awake Mothra and convince her to help Godzilla and Rodan fend off the monstrous King Ghidorah. Mothra stops Rodan and Godzilla from fighting each other, and then proceeds to reason with them why they should help her protect the Earth. Godzilla and Rodan, resistant at first, soon realize that they were in the wrong, and they watch Mothra go into battle against Ghidorah. Ghidorah, clearly outmatching Mothra, leaves an impression on Godzilla, and he decides to join the fight. Soon, all three monsters take on Ghidorah into the final battle, with Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra coordinating attacks, and Mothra spinning a cocoon around King Ghidorah, sending him back into space. And in the future setting of Destroy All Monsters, Mothra now resides on Monsterland, aka Monster Island, along with all the other Earth's monsters, when they are gassed and abducted by aliens that mind control them. Mothra proceeds to destroy a train and a train station. For some reason, Mothra hates trains, then gathers with all the monsters to face off King Ghidorah at the foot of Mount Fuji. Mothra spins her web after Ghidorah is defeated, and then proceeds to return to Monster Island to live out her life along with the other kaiju. But enough of the history, let's take a look at this classic kaiju in its classic vinyl form, the Bandai 1991 Mothra Larva. Okay, let's call this what it is. It's a polished turd. Not in the way that I would use it in a negative context, but I mean, yeah, it's a turd. It's a walking turd, but a very nicely done one at that, with these beautiful colors and everything. I have to give it to Bandai for its 1991 take on this monster. The sculpting and the colors are really beautiful, considering when you compare them to things like Gigan of that era, that was really awkwardly sculpted. This is, I believe, based on the Godzilla vs. Mothra larva, but although I could be wrong. Checking out its colors and its turnaround. Look at this thing, it's beautiful. So let's take a look at the back side. It's got that nice gold spray going down the back, and then the rest of the figure is molded in this like warm dark chocolate. It's really beautiful. Focusing on the face, you get the gold spray across the face. You get those nice piercing blue eyes, nicely done, and they look really good in those dark sockets. The mandibles are molded in a gunmetal gray, which is beautiful. And, everything looks good. The colors just bounce off each other really nicely. It's not accurate to the film, but it's a very nice compliment the way they rest on the creases and folds of the mold itself. Look at that. I mean, it's just really beautifully done. I think if Bandai was going to do another take at this, they might as well have just downscaled this a little bit. This thing is gorgeous. I still keep it in my collection. I make it my de facto Mothra. Look at that. The gold spray down the back. Beautiful. And, it's got that warm brown. It doesn't do anything wrong. I mean, no, the sculpting is top-notch as well. Obviously, I pointed out the face and all the details that are on there, all the crevices and stuff, all the humps on the body, nicely send down to a smaller, narrower point, all the way from the top to the base of the head, all the way down to the three-pronged tip, which makes me believe that this is from Godzilla vs. the Thing, as they had that style tip at the end of their bodies. And so if you look underneath, he's got this lining of kind of mentioned that before. Not sure what that's supposed to be. I guess other to hide the wheels of the model when it ran across the screen, but it's all there, just in line with the model. And then you have these little, I would imagine, are legs, the little tiny nublets hanging out from beneath its head. And then you have these odd suction cups. There's 6 of them. I'm not sure if that's to help her climb. I'm not sure. More on that a little bit later. But altogether, this is a really well done sculpt. Now, let's talk about articulation. There barely is any. What you see is what you get with Mothra. However, you could always pretend it's walking like that, I guess. That's ridiculous. But it does have one point of articulation by the neck. It can rotate its head and its back hump. So you could do that, I guess. I'm not sure what that's going to accomplish on your display, but it's there. So kudos to Bandai for even thinking about putting articulation on anything, especially in nowadays when you have the flying form Hydra that does nothing. This, I guess, gives it some personality if you want. It could be looking to its side, I guess, curious or whatever. It's serviceable, but hey, what else could you ask for? Now, I wanted to compare this Mothra with the rebirth of Mothra Larva, which is the Mothra Leo one. I know I did that in the adult Mothra Tokyo S.O.S model, but you can see the differences here. The heads are bigger on the rebirth of Mothra version, and the coloring obviously is different. There's a lighter browns all around, and here we go. There's the tail point. That tail on the rebirth of Mothra reflects more or less the original version, I think. And we get all these suction cups on the body this time. At least they're more or less going up and down. Same point of articulation on this guy. So again, not sure why it's there, but it's there. And that was the yesteryear of Bandai. And these two look great together, just to kind of show you that there are various versions. The adult Tokyo S.O.S Mothra is my de facto Showa Mothra, as I explained in my review for this figure. It's huge. It looks really good with its younger larva form. I think, I have to zoom out to see this thing so big. And they look good together too. If you're going to have like a Mothra shelf, these would be the two I would go for sure. Now this thing kind of towers over Mothra when you stand it on its tip. I know that there's a lot of decent Mothra larvas out there, but this one for me really strikes that Showa version. And of course, if we're going to have a Godzilla vs. Mothra or Godzilla vs. the Thing theme, you have to have the 64 Godzilla to pair up with it, and these two look beautiful. Again, did a review for this figure as well, and I compared these two in that, but I'm retreading just because, it's the anniversary of the movie. Let's just look back at it again, and they look good side by side. I could see this thing wanting to bite his tail. They're beautiful. I think that again, if Bandai was going to retread, just downsize this version a little bit and you have a perfect set right there. That's pretty much all I got to say. And because this is the other member of the trio of Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, we can put Rodan with Mothra. I know it's not the exact version of Rodan from that movie, but I just wanted to recreate that shot from the movie where he's carrying Mothra on his back. They look great together too. But let's see what Jet Jaguar has to say, because I'm sure he'd like to punch this out.
Punch, punch, punch!
3 punches from Jet Jaguar. And I can see why, because while it's beautifully sculpted, it's really just a glorified showpiece. It's not really a figure, like something you could really play with, just because it has some articulation. The articulation really doesn't do anything for this figure, but man, this thing is beautiful, and it should be on your shelf with the rest of your Showa characters. I think it really does hold up to this day, and that's a testament to the sculptors, whoever worked on this particular figure. Mothra Larva is a beautiful figure. I don't know what it's going for now in the aftermarket, but if you could score one decent price, I would definitely get it. So that's really it from the review. I want to thank you all for watching. I have plenty of other videos on my channel. Please comment below, like, share, subscribe, and thank you again for watching. I'll be back with more.